SCRS Ferrari Challenge took on the twists and turns of Summit Point Motorsports Park last week, but now it's finally time to return to the series at a racetrack that's got a lot of history with Ferrari Challenge here. We're in Sebring, Florida for the next round of the championship. 3 races tonight, and it's going to be a challenge, as always, down into the first corner where this series historically has had a little trouble getting through.
Yeah, and it's also, speaking of historically, this is the first race we covered for this series not many
2 years ago. 14 months ago. 13 months ago. It was February of 2018. It was February 20th, actually, was the date of our first stream, and it was here at Sebring International Raceway. So welcome to Sebring, and of course, my name's Kyle Heyer, joined by Finian Acuna tonight for the next round of the SCRS Ferrari Challenge Championship. So big news this week, Finian. In the past, these guys have always run with a split Pro and Am championship. And finally, we've gotten to separate the field up, and on the left-hand side of the screen, all the drivers in the yellow numbers are your Pro drivers, all the drivers in white are your Am drivers competing for separate championships and an overall. And Paul Darling returning to form this week already, sitting on pole in qualifying.
Yeah, seeing if he can continue that run. He's done phenomenally well in this series. It looks like it's going to be the same story there. He's got 0.6 of a second gap over Jonathan DeCruiser in second in qualifying. Still waiting for a few guys, especially Caden Bin in the 23. Back, still trying to put a lap in. He's actually just about to finish a lap as he comes through Sunset Bend.
And Sunset Bend it is going to be tonight. The sun is setting. It's about 6 p.m. here in Sebring, Florida. And Ben's going to come out of the final corner to cross the line. We'll see what lap time it's going to be. A 2:01.106. That's going to be good enough for pole for now. So the other big change, this car is now on the new tire model, Finian. How is that going to change things tonight? We've seen these cars struggle to get temperature in the tires.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the story about it, is, with tires being as cool as they are, by the time, especially in a sprint race like this, they're going to have nowhere near enough time to really put proper heat in them, so it's going to be, the car should be technically getting faster and grippier over the course of the race, so it'll be interesting to see how these guys deal with it, especially in the opening lap. We talked about turn 1 being treacherous. Cold tires, especially as cold as they are, we could potentially see here the classic turn 1 wreck.
Classic turn 1 wreck indeed. We saw the first race ever here. Big pileup in turn 1 last season had a similar story. Only 17 cars on the grid tonight, so that might help the situation. Yeah. But now with the split Pro and Am championship, how much do you think that's on the drivers' minds, if at all? Is it on their minds, or are they just focused on getting the best finish they can?
Well, considering they still get points and there still is an overall championship, this is really more, there is different prizes given to the Pro and Am categories. I definitely think they're going to be racing the Am drivers maybe a little bit less than they normally would, considering they're not all fighting for technically the same exact stuff. I think the Pro drivers are going to more focus among themselves. The Am drivers are going to focus more on themselves, but we can definitely see some battle between them, and I'm sure guys are not going to just completely pull over for the other class.
Zachary Hefner lining up turn 16 here at Sebring, and then on to the back straightaway, and there is the sun setting. And we're heading towards the famous Sunset Bend, one of the most challenging corners in American motorsport. Bumps and bruises on the old concrete in this final turn, Finian. It's extremely challenging to get this car right, especially with how much rotation this car has through the center of the corner. It can step out really easily, especially over the bumps here.
Hefner a little bit sideways through Sunset Bend, going to come out of the final corner. We'll see if he can improve on this lap. And if not, he's got a chance of making one more lap after this.
That's going to be good enough for pole for Hefner.
First time below 2:01 for Hefner up in pole. And also, I just got to say, they really nailed the class distinction. Look at that. Top 7 all Pro drivers, everyone else is an Am.
Yeah, I think we only have 9 or 10 Pro drivers, and a few of them are not here tonight. So all the Pro drivers that are in the field are at the top of the order. So looks like that has been nailed. And actually, look at the difference between the last Pro driver, DeCruiser, and the first Am driver, 0.3 of a second. So there's a very clear line between Pro and Am here tonight.
Oh, that's slightly inaccurate. It's actually 0.9 between them.
Okay,
it's displaying the wrong data for some reason.
Why does it always do that?
I don't know. Yeah, it's currently showing for the Pro drivers the gaps between them, not between the themselves and the leader.
Okay,
yeah,
that's interesting. But anyway.
It still is relatively close amongst them, though.
Carter Kundinger, the number 2 car on the Can-Am cars. One of the Pro drivers, and he has come out right out of the gate really solid. The first couple races, his first season with this championship, and immediately was having results. And again, we kind of joked about him having kind of the Goldilocks nights He'd have a bad race, a really good race, and then a race kind of in between, and he's looking to find some consistency here tonight at Sebring. This is a good place to do it because with only 17 cars, after the first lap, you're going to get some space to race and some room to set your own lap time. So I think tonight, as long as you can get through the first lap, you can control your own destiny here.
Bouncing through the final corner for the two-car car. Ooh, gonna go wide and gonna hit the wall on the front straightaway, so not gonna be able to finish this lap.
Yeah, here's a look at how bumpy it is through this final corner.
It's got really close to the wall.
Yeah, these dampers working overtime here to get this car set up and onto the front straightaway and to sling it back down the front. Anyway, here's a look at your starting order, the left-hand side of the screen. Still some drivers making some laps, but on the right-hand side of the screen, how about our track conditions tonight, Finian? Cooling down as the night wears on here. 79 degrees in the air, 81 on the racetrack, 13-mile-an-hour wind out of the east, partly cloudy skies, and just ticked past about, looks like 8 p.m. here. 8 p.m.? 7 p.m.
7.
19 minus 12, 7. Yep, that's the one. We can do math.
Yeah,
7:03 p.m.
I'm literally counting my fingers here.
Oh, boy. Coronavirus got to our brains, I think, already. But a minute and 43 left in qualifying, and Jonathan Rodriguez out on track in the number 27. Kind of a disappointing qualifying effort for him. A full 5 seconds off the pace of the pole sitter, Zachary Hefner. And only a couple drivers left on the racetrack. Wow, Paul Darling took a whole heck of a curb.
Not sure. Yeah, he's definitely
and that lap is dirty. Kurt Crum comes on through. Is it going to be good enough to improve? It is not going to be a 201.3 to his best 201.2.
Yeah, so fourth.
So qualifying is complete now with about a minute left. And Zachary Hefner in the 51 going to be on pole. Caden Bin in second. Paul Darling, Kurt Crum, Eric Mickey. Then Kundinger, DeCusier, Ost, Lidke, and Mickey rounding out, Andrew Mickey, rather, rounding out the rest of your top 10.
Yeah, I'm really interested in seeing what Bin's got. I mean, even Hefner, too, because Hefner looking really strong. I was kind of worried that we would see Paul Darling just run away with this championship and just start winning race after race after race like we saw, what's his name? Justin...
I'm focused on getting the correct track map up right now, so, okay, it's not Daytona. We're at the other Florida track tonight, Sebring. And we'll take a look at this racetrack here, Finian, because it is a challenging one. It's very flat around Sebring International Raceway, 3.7 miles, but a lot of fast corners here, a lot of bumps on the surface, a lot of tall curbs as well, but not a lot of elevation to speak of at all. But turn 1 is the trouble spot here tonight.
Yeah, flat because it's part of it is on the airport, as you see going through these corners. Again, tight corners, bumpy corners for a lot of these cars, especially you can see heading down into the hairpin. That's going to be a very popular passing spot.
And after you exit the airpin, that's turn number 7 out there. Then you head over to the far side of the course through 8, 9, and 10. 10 is that right-hander at the middle of your screen now. Then you got a couple more sectors until you get to the S's that set you up for turn 16. That's that final right-hander before that long back straightaway heading to Sunset Bend. So there's a lot of passing opportunities around here. It's an easy racetrack to get passes done, but you have to be kind of brave in areas because of how tall the curbs are. They make things a lot narrower than they really are.
Yeah, easy places to pass on the track, but definitely not an easy track to drive, especially, when you're forcing the machines to the limit. It's very easy to dip a wheel off into the grass and go spinning around. We've seen it time and time again, no matter what series you come to in this at this track. So we'll see how these drivers can fare with the conditions tonight.
So the other thing to be concerned about, of course, is keep getting some tire temperature in these cars because, again, new tire model V7 for these vehicles as of last week. And what that means is that it's going to take a little bit longer to get these tires up to operating temperature. And that also means that on the pace lap, we'll probably see a whole lot of weaving to try to get these tires ready to go racing tonight. We'll roll through our starting grid here on the front row this evening. Zachary Hefner in the number 51, Caden Bin in the 23. We'll start on the outside of that first row.
Moving on back, surprisingly, I thought he would have been starting on pole, but it's in third. Paul Darling in the 155 is going to be next to Kurt Crum in the 87, who will be starting in fourth.
Row number 3 tonight. In 5th place, Eric Mickey in the number 88 Bombshell Motorsports car. Carter Kundinger on the outside of row 3. In 6th, that's the number 2.
And then our last pro driver in the field tonight is Jonathan DeCusier, going to be lining up in the 39 in 7th, next to Christian Ost in the 157 in 8th.
In 9th place tonight, Drew Lidke in the number 21 Can-Am car. Then Andrew Mickey, another Bombshell crew member, on the outside of row 5 in 10th.
Moving on back to 11th, we find Teague Algie in the 13 as being lining up next to Brian Stone in the 03 in 12th.
In 13th, Brian Shabelski will roll off in his number 12 car, and Liam Park 14th in the number 14 car.
You're fitting for that number, and then moving on back another row, we find in 15, Brandon Blackford in the 013. He's going to be lining up next to Jonathan Rodriguez in the 27th and 16th.
And last driver of the field, Thomas Cooper, rounding out the field in 17th place in the 584. There's one more. Peter Vostrel has just made it to the grid. Late entrant here tonight, but will roll off 18th tonight, and he did make the grid, so he won't have to start from pit lane. So, predictions tonight, Finney. We've got 3 races, each 15 minutes long, and we've seen in the past drivers like Carter Kundinger, Goldilocks night, good race, bad race, race in between. Is anyone in here going to have 3 good races or 3 bad races?
Honestly, it's going to be tough to tell. I think especially, I feel like race 2 for a lot of the pro drivers, because they're going to be starting in the back of the field with everyone else after finishing in the front race 1, or where they should be finishing in race 1. So I think here is going to be a little bit tricky to be working through the field during the first few laps. You can see a lot of them end up catching some trouble.
Sun setting behind the clouds here at Sebring Raceway in Sebring,
sunset.
Florida. And yeah, unfortunately, because of the spread of the COVID-19 virus, the real event, the Sebring 12-hour, which would be happening this weekend, is no longer on. It has been postponed until November.
Ooh.
Was there some contact there?
Yeah. Was that between the Bombshell guys?
Could have been, but...
Check the 87.
Not seeing any damage on these cars. But it's definitely sounded like they made contact, but if they did, they got away with it. Turn number 10, a great passing opportunity down here. One of the tightest corners at this facility other than the turn 7 hairpin. That's going to be a trouble spot on the initial lap.
I just realized how the cameras are lined up almost perfectly, overlaying.
Yeah. Between hairpin and turn 10?
Yeah. That was totally by accident. You can see still I think that was Kirk Crum that's weaving his. He's weaving tires more than anyone else, really trying to build up heat in them.
Yeah, again, you got to get those tires warm, and he's figured out the best way to do it, which thankfully finally is the realistic way to do it, I must add, instead of just dragging the brake around the entire track. Probably still some of that, but a lot of weaving will actually get the same thing done.
Yeah. I want to do a little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
Everyone going out wide, setting up for the second to last corner.
So this long back straightaway, Finney, and the slipstream going to be in effect tonight. And passing opportunity to turn 17 Sunset Bend, or is that a place where you should probably fall in line?
You can definitely make a pass. It depends on how much of a run you have. You obviously don't want to make a dive bomb in the Sunset, because you're definitely going to regret it. You're going to send it in too hot, potentially spin out, and maybe take out the guy you're passing. So you want to be a little bit careful. You definitely want to make sure you have a little bit of a run, and at least alongside the driver you're trying to make a pass on before heading down that corner.
Time to go racing tonight. Pace car makes its way through the final corner here at Sebring International Raceway, 3.7-mile facility. This 15-minute race will be about 8 laps over the bumps on the old concrete taxiways and runways of this World War II airfield. Pace car pulls off, 15 minutes on the board. SCRS Ferrari Challenge is racing again at Sebring. Green flag flies, and we're racing in Florida.
Cars in the background lining up 3 wide into turn 1. Do we make it through?
Nope, someone moving around in the background.
Ose.
That's Ose in the 157.
Yeah, he's actually the only victim, so actually everyone else made it through okay.
Bombshell Motorsports cars, the 4th and 5th place, 87 and 88, nose to tail behind him. That was Kundinger big time over the curbs. Got air there.
Yeah, when falling behind, jumping the Cougar and lost a little bit of time, so he's got to gain that back now as you look up to the front. Here comes Caden Bin and Zachary Hefner leading the field down to the hairpin for the first time.
Drag race into the hairpin. Paul Darling in 3rd, Hefner on the inside, Bin on the outside. Braking zone, and Bin's going to leave plenty of space. Darling trying to squeeze up the inside for second.
Great job on the exit for Bin, now trying to fight with Paul Darling. It's going to be Hefner that's going to try to break away. Here comes Darling and Bin side by side.
And Kurt Crum in behind in 4th, waiting for an opportunity to sneak up the inside of somebody.
Whoa.
Oh, contact, and the 155 slips and slides, and Kurt Crum sees an opportunity. He's going to try to fit up the outside lane. Can't do it there. Here comes his teammate.
Yeah, I was trying to take advantage of this curve.
Oh, big crash behind him.
Kundinger
Kundinger slams into the concrete.
Oh, man.
And that's big damage for him. And more cars
Whoa!
off. And that's Thomas Cooper in the 584.
And his teammate Jonathan Rodriguez in the background of the 27. He went flying off in that corner.
Big crashes here. Meanwhile, Kurt Crum trying to overtake Paul Darling into the S's.
See Hefner starting to build up a little bit of a lead. You always see the pro field close together.
Yeah, 6 of our 7 pro drivers all in the top 6 right now. The only one that is not is Kundinger. Meanwhile, for second place, Ben is going to leave Darling's space to the inside.
And Darling again with the run, what I was talking about, building up that run down into Sunset. Gonna have a look up the inside. Looks like Ben's gonna give it to him. Gonna go out a little bit wide, try to set up a run down the front straight away.
Trying to cross him under. Here he comes. Trying to get the throttle back down, and it looks like Crum is going to have a little bit of space behind, but battle towards turn 1. We'll see if Darling stays defensive. Hefner now the 1.5 second lead.
There goes Ben. Now he's got to run, not enough to get alongside, though, and he's going to stay behind Paul Darling. Look at the lead that Hefner has got, 1.5 seconds.
Jonathan DeCouger slots himself into 5th after starting in 7th, so he's on the move forward. And Hefner beginning to drive away. Darling is really struggling right now.
Mounted the curb there. He took the car, got him a little bit sideways and lost some more time now. Here comes Ben trying to get back on him.
And Darling expressed a lot of frustration and concern over how this car felt back at Daytona. But now with a new tire model, I would think that Darling would have had this car figured out. But the anti-lock braking systems and the traction control can be strange to get used to. Not only once, but now how about twice? He's had to learn his car twice in the span of only a couple weeks. There's a lot that Darling has had to figure out lately.
And it looks like he's still trying to figure it out, but still running fairly well. Although I think he's definitely going to have to avoid some of the curves.
Braking zone for turn 10. Everyone nice and cleanly now. Oh, car around behind him, and it's Eric Mickey in the 88. He's spun.
Oh, and some damage. It seems he's got a bit of... Actually, he should be fine. Just tap the wall.
And we'll see exactly how he got himself in this situation here. Maybe just too much throttle on corner exit. I got up on top of the curb, and the traction control took him out of that one.
Also some grass as well. Gonna drop all the way back to 15th.
Hefner now with a 2-second lead. And Darling has been so aggressive over the curbs, trying to make time, slipping and sliding, and it's not really that fast right now.
No, I think definitely if you want to be fast, you should definitely avoid the curves, at least for now, until the tires start to get maybe a little bit more heat in them. But Hefner running away with this race. Doesn't look like anyone's able to really catch him at the moment.
All single filed out behind. The drama from the first lap seems to be over for now. But Caden Benn still knocking on the door for second.
He's been trying to, I think, really his best chances are really getting these runs on the straightaways. But you can see him as he starts to build up a run, just a little bit too far back to make a pass.
Oh, Darling sliding that rear end. You see how much angle that car got through turn 1.
I think he's overdriving into the corners a little bit too much. I think he's putting too much angle into the car, kind of like what we saw there, and he's getting a little bit loose on exit.
And using a lot of curb, too, which around here, it can be advantageous in some corners, but elsewhere it can really be a detractor to your performance.
Riding on board with the 23 of Caden Benn now, looking at Paul Darling up the road.
Best battle on the racetrack right now is for second place. And through the hairpin. Meanwhile, for 8th, Brandon Blackford and Brian Chabelski battling into the hairpin. And even behind him, Peter Vostrel on his teammate, Brian Sohn.
And it's going to be Sohn that's going to make the pass and get it done for 11th place.
Christian O's trying to fight back from first lap spin in the 157. That was down in turn number 1, and it looked like he escaped damage.
Yeah, I think he was lucky that there's enough space for him to stop, but he had spun out and had to get back going again. Meanwhile, big battle going up that.
Whoa! Slide for Caden Benn, and Kurt Crum is all over him.
Yep, Crum trying to make a look to the outside. They're going to be side by side. This is not a section you want to be side by side in.
140 miles an hour, high downforce corner, and a big dive by Kurt Crum into the S's. And just enough space, and it's really easy to catch these tires on the inside edge of that curb and destroy your suspension or spin yourself out. So you have to be dancing and be very careful about how you attack those curbs.
Yeah, with those guys, with them being kind of side by side, they slow each other down now. There you see Paul Darling starting to break away from the rest of the pack.
And setting sights on Hefner, and we're yet to see anybody really compete with Hefner in raw pace. This might be his night, but Darling runs second, Caden Benn third, Crum fourth, and Jonathan DeCouger hanging out in fifth.
just been kind of watching this. I think he's just waiting for his moment to strike. I think he knows, with these guys all nose to tail, it's not really much of a point putting another car in the mix.
Here's what almost 3 seconds of a lead looks like. There is your leader, Zachary Hefner. There's Paul Darling, then the battle for third. Ben Krom de Kuger. Then Drew Lidke in 6th, Teague Algie in 7th, Blackford Shabelski about to pop into the picture. There they are. Liam Park, Brian Sohn. There's that grouping, 10th and 11th. And Sohn on a mission right now.
Yeah, recently passed his teammate. I'm going to try to have a look up the inside of Liam Park. Wasn't close enough to get the pass done, but stalking that 10th place spot.
And Liam Park trying to accelerate this 0-3, but now a little bit of slipstream is going to help. He's going to have a run here.
Huge run, going to have a look up the inside. Park surprisingly not going to defend, going to leave the lane open.
Yeah, no reason to defend. I think he knows Brian's a little bit quicker. And always awkward running through here side by side. Eric Mickey has pulled the car off the racetrack. I'm not sure if he's had an accident or what. That looks. He just came to pit lane, so I'm
you know what I think it might be? I think he's trying to set himself as close to the front of the field because all the cars that finish will be the ones that get inverted. So I think he figured anyway he's back in 15th, 16th place. Might as well drop down a little bit down the order. You can start on the front row and build a big lead in race 2.
Again, so race 2, we grid by the reverse finishing order from the first race. So if Mickey finishes dead last, he'll be the pole sitter for the second race. So again, like you said, probably planning for race number 2. Darling 3.2 back. He has not been able to close, and last time Hefner ran his quickest lap. And actually, Caden Ben has started to close back on Paul Darling. So it seems like Hefner is going to be the hardest one to beat tonight.
Yeah, really, I'm a bit surprised. I was expecting, again, Darling to be, he was really looking to be the class of the field, but not so much this week at least. Might just be the track, might be the new tire model, or both really, for that matter. As Kuja, he's kind of fallen off the pace off Kurt Crummenden.
3.2 seconds is the lead gap. 6.5 minutes left. Meanwhile, behind him, Christian Ost and Liam Park trading positions. Ost up to 11th after his first lap spin. Andrew Mickey almost got the tire barrier out of that final corner.
Yeah, and Ost has made some decent progress up the order up into 11th, looking at 10th and even 9th. So it'll be a decent recovery considering he spun out in turn 1.
In some ways, that's the best place to spin. If you're going to spin on the first lap, spin while everyone else is still fighting with each other, because you'll gain a lot of that time back before everyone gets a chance to spread out. Darling had a really good sector, closed in a half a second on Zachary Hefner. But Caden Ben is sticking with him and Kurt Crum, so we're going to have a 4-car fight again here shortly.
And Ben ran 0.6 of a second faster last lap to Darling, so he's really starting to close in on.
And actually, Ben was the quickest car on the entire racetrack by a whole 10th. Last time by as well. So this 23 is certainly on the move.
I think pretty much for the win, as long as Hefner doesn't make a mistake, I think he's going to take the win in this race, in race 1. But I think it's going to be a matter of who's going to finish 2nd, 3rd, and 4th between Darling, Ben, and Crum.
Jonathan Kuja a little bit loose.
Yeah, the dust cloud, I think, went a little bit wide in the corner. He's kind of drifting on back. Then we got Lidke and Teague Algie. They're battling it out for 6th.
Closest battle on the racetrack remains for 2nd place. And through the middle sector that time, Hefner and Darling were just about even. Actually, let's take a look at the sector times. First sector for Hefner, a 36.4. And for Paul Darling, a 36.0. So all that time that Paul Darling just gained was all in sector number 1.
And then lost more in sector 2, and probably maybe even sector 3 lost a little bit more as well.
Woo!
Wow.
Big dive for Teague Algie, who didn't have a hole to make it stick, but he's slipping and sliding.
Yeah, I think he was trying to do an over-under here, trying to get a better exit off the corner, but went too wide and had too much steering into the car. Saw it drift through sunset, which is the last thing you want to do.
There's another angle of that. Went in there and just
turned too hard here, upset the car,
and had to think all sorts of sideways through Sunset Bend. And it's not a good place to have your car sideways because if you catch a bump the wrong way, it can fling you back the other direction. Actually, GLTC competitor Mike Taylor put his car in the wall earlier in January and has to rebuild his entire front end of his car because that wall will get you. There's a lot of runoff there, but it's very easy for things to go wrong in that particular corner.
Absolutely. Looking at Brandon Blackford in the 0-13, he's trying to hold up Brian Chabelski and a few others. There's Brian Stone. We've seen him charging up through the order up in 10th, trying to get 9th and 8th.
Brian Stone last lap was a full second quicker than Shabelski. He's going to chuck the car down into the hairpin.
Whoa.
Almost made contact with the 12 of Shabelski, but he'll carry on. This 0-3 is not going to finish 10th. He'll be up the order further.
Really solid pace.
Yeah, 2:01.8 is just a couple tenths off what the leaders are running right now.
And actually, as far as best times are concerned, someone has set the fastest out of the AM drivers.
5 of our pros in the top 5 positions, 2 of them at the very bottom of the order, and AM's filling all the in-between. Again, the pro drivers with the yellow numbers, the AM drivers with the normal white. Darling again quicker through at least one of the sectors. 35.8 that time to a 36.0 for Zachary Hefner. So sector 1 is where Darling's gaining some time. He's got to do more than that, but he's at least making up something.
Yeah, actually, looking at the times, he actually, Darling went the fastest of anyone in the race so far. Last time through with a 2:minute.8.
Christian Ost and Brian Stone side by side. In front of them, Shabelski and Blackford dueling it out. And both will heed positions.
Oh, gets the wall, coming too close.
I think that was Ost that kind of got the inside wall at the right front. No visible damage that we can see. 2 minutes and 25 seconds to go. Next time by will be white flag. And Blackford going to dive up the inside. Is he going to be given space? Yeah, but he won't need it.
And here comes Ost. He messed up kind of his exit now, and Ost trying to take advantage of that. Going to have a look up the inside down into turn 2.
It's so hard to get a nose in there when you know that door is going to slam. Only one lane through there, really.
Have to back off and try yet again. So not out of the battle either yet. So both these guys have been moving up the order, similar on pace for 0-3 and the 157.
Someone's been so good on the brakes tonight. And Blackford kind of missed the apex there. It's going to let Ost get right up to the rear bumper. Meanwhile, Peter Vostrel and Andrew Mickey, kind of a sloppy hairpin entrance for those two.
Mickey trying to catch back up to Lee Park, trying to get 12th place away as Park's trying to break away. Whoa, whoa! Vostrel takes out Andrew Mickey.
And clobbers Liam Park as well.
Wow.
What happened there?
Oh, Mickey's flipping.
I don't know what just happened, but it was crazy.
He came in there.
1,000 miles an hour. What happened? Oh, he just totally misjudged that. And Andrew Mickey up and over. That was a huge misjudgment by Vostrel.
Yeah, let's take a look at that from the rear of Park. That's what he saw. Or more or less, I guess, what he didn't see, probably.
Oh man, you turn in and you're going to get hit, and then bam. Big crash in the closing moments here at Sebring. And Christian Ost has gone around. How did he get turned?
Oh,
he was buried in the tire barrier. He was chasing Brandon Blackford.
Oh, was braking while he was turning. A recipe for disaster.
Oh, and impaled himself into the barrier there.
Somehow he got out.
Don't know how, but rip hex. Anyway, white flag for Zachary Hefner, and all the chaos has been behind him tonight. And his lead has diminished, but it's not going to be enough.
Darling setting faster and faster laps. Same thing with Caden Bin in the 23.
Yeah, if this race was twice as long, I'd be worried for Hefner, but he's just been so solid over these short runs. And now I'm really curious about race number 2 when they invert the field, if he's going to be able to make the moves, because he hasn't had to pass anybody tonight.
I imagine he's got that sorted out. We'll have to see with Hefner. Got Paul Darling trying to hold up Caden Bin, still a race, half a lap to go for those drivers.
T. Algie in the number 13 all over Drew Lidke in turn 10. Holes open, going to send it down the inside, turns off in, and he backs out just in time.
Yeah, there's no way that was going to make it. That was a little bit opportunistic. They tried for the move.
Liam Park has reset back to pit lane here. For second place, I think Caden Bin is done riding behind Paul Darling, and they have run out of time to catch Hefner, so it's going to be a battle for second now.
Yeah, effectively he's got one more chance to get past Paul Darling down at Sunset.
And onto the back straightaway, Hefner is 2 seconds up the road, a bit of a slick moment on the curb on corner exit. Caden Bin now going to try to use a slipstream, but he's kind of far back. He might have a run here.
Yeah, we'll have to see here.
Here he comes. Far slow to the inside, that's Andrew Mickey. Oh, bit of a block by Darling into the braking zone. Ben
Gonna
takes
go
a look
for it.
up the inside, not a hole to go to. Checkered flag for Zachary Hefner from pole to win in race number 1 of the night. A chaotic first race. Paul Darling and Ben. Great battle, but it'll be second for Darling, third for Ben.
Yeah, Crum falling off a little bit towards the end is going to finish the night finish race 1 in 4th, and then we got Jonathan Kucher in 5th. And for the first AM car across the line is going to be Drew Lidke. That'll win the battle between himself and Teague Algie. That was another great battle to watch, with Algie finishing in 7th.
Shabelski and Brian Sohn coming home in 8th and 9th. And Brandon Blackford has looped it in the final corner. He's probably going to lose. He might not even actually lose the spot.
Yeah, it should be good. But so close to the end. Oh, okay.
That's Andrew Mickey just trying to limp home to the end. All right, well, should we go back and take a look at the lap 1 incidents?
Sure, why not?
While we have a moment. What a chaotic race that was in very distinct stages. But the first car to go around was Christian Oss, and here's a look at the start of the race and how this all ended up happening. Oss is in the middle of your screen, the blue and black car. Was there contact? Oh, he turns across the nose of Andrew Mickey there. I don't really think that's anybody's fault. Just, there was space to Andrew's left, he could have gone.
That's kind of why.
You know, Andrew didn't. I mean, Andrew hadn't really turned off into the corner yet, but if you look at the pavement on the ground, really didn't have to yet.
Yeah, this is the tricky thing about this corner. You can turn it at a whole bunch of different points, and not everyone's going to be turning in at the same time. You see O starts to turn in, and Mickey's still going straight.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of space to Mickey's left, but that is racing incident for me.
It's a difficult corner, and that's, I think, typically why you see a lot of incidents in sim racing here in turn 1. But for the most part, they got a decent amount of way through.
And then where was the next one?
It was entering, I forgot the turn. I don't
Turn 10?
I think. Round turn 10, or a little bit after that, actually.
Which cars were it?
You're talking about when the 3 cars went off the track, right?
Yes.
That was after turn 10, I believe.
So let's find out exactly.
Right here.
Oh, yeah, right there. And it was Carter Kundinger, the first driver that we saw off. So let's see exactly how he got put off course. Here's a look. It's the red car in the middle of your screen.
Yeah, I think he might have just got loose, I think, with the full tires.
Yeah, just got loose. And then Thomas Cooper was the next car we saw. And did the exact same thing.
Oh, he got loose, tried to save it, but then ended up going off the track into Kundinger. And I think Rodriguez, who is the other car, the 27 in the background, I think he just probably got loose by himself. So, cold tires.
Yep. Big issues for a lot of our drivers tonight. 8 laps in this race. Hefner, Darling, Bin, Crum, DeCousier, all pros sweeping the top 5. The Drew Lidke, Algie, Shabelski, Sohn, and Blackford running out the rest of your top 10. There's the rest of your finishing order. A wild race 1. We're not done yet, not even close to it. Still 2 more races to go. Race 2 will invert the entire field, and race 3 will set it by the points earned on the night. Stay with us. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Would you like to have a career in racing, and if so, what would you like to do, Dale?
Well, I want to be a race car driver someday. That's, it's all I've ever known, racing.
What did you want to be when you grew up? So many people live a life of what if. Go to school. Go to college. Get a 9-to-5. This is how we support our dreams. With a safety net. Because we're unsure about taking a leap of faith. Because we're afraid. As we grow, we cross things off our list of dreams. We cut them down, make them realistic. Having control of things is reassuring. But for some, the rush of being out of control is what gives them life. Some say racing cars is reckless. Maybe they're right. Out of bounds isn't just cheating, it's cheating death. Football fields made up in seconds. Decisions made in instants. For the people that climb behind the wheel of these cars, they're not driving it. They become part of it. It's an extension of the body. As a child, I looked up to these people, faces hidden by helmets. The less you saw of the driver, the more believable it became that they were, in fact, just part of the machine. It's easy to forget that inside the cockpit is someone just like us, but with the mindset that fear is a motivation, not a barrier. But the reality is, race car drivers are not like us. They never cross anything off their list of dreams. They just keep writing more. Daytona.
This is the finish of the Daytona 500. Side by side.
Le Mans. Indianapolis. Monaco. Places that used to be just places, now international symbols of victory. To those that enjoy the spectacle of racing, the 2 feet of concrete and steel cables are a wall between us and them, between sitting in the grandstands and standing in victory lane. These same walls are a stark, immovable reminder that racing drivers put their lives on the line for the sake of the thrill and entertainment. Despite the risk, despite the heartbreak, despite the cost. There are some on the sidelines who are fascinated by the danger. They are fascinated by speed, fascinated by the undying desire to be just a little bit better. Their dreams erased by geography, finances, or the lack of a famous last name. There are some who once wished to be a race car driver, but aren't, because they didn't get the chance. And they thought they'd spend the rest of their lives watching their heroes on television, or from the other side of the fence. They thought it was impossible to climb into a race car, so they crossed it off their list. But it's not impossible. There is a ticket to the other side of the fence. For those who want it bad enough, this is your chance.
race 1 of the night for the SCRS Ferrari Challenge here at Sebring went fairly well, with the exception of a few incidents towards the tail of the field, which involved some pretty high-speed accidents, Finian. But now we're going to invert the field, put the slowest guys at the front, the fastest guys at the back, and see how it goes. Typically doesn't work out so well, especially with Sebring's turn 1, but who to look for, who to not look for in this one?
I mean, I'm definitely looking at, if I'm not mistaken, Eric Mickey, after he was trying to, after I imagine, with the way his incident was, that he came into the pits just to kind of put himself more towards the back of the field, so that way he's got a better starting spot. Will not be pole, it should be Carter Kundinger that will be starting on pole. Actually, no. I think it might be Andrew Mickey that was starting on pole, because Andrew didn't finish. I don't know. But Eric Mickey and Kundinger is starting to the front out of the pro drivers, so they're potentially going to run away with this, and I think the other pro drivers are going to get to the front, but more or less later into the race.
Another look at our Sebring International Raceway track guide here tonight. Again, 3.7 miles, 17 turns. The trouble spot tonight, at least on the opening lap, wasn't really turn 1, Finian. It was on the far side of the course in really turn number 12, on the really right above where turn 2 is there. On first lap, cold tires, and you're relying on downforce that you have, but you don't have any mechanical grip to supplement it, so you end up going for a ride.
Yeah, right. I imagine these guys probably learned a little bit from race 1, the guys that spun out in the first lap from the cold tires, just to kind of really see how cold the tires actually are. So I think especially through after turn 10, that little complex, after seeing 3 cars go off the track, I'm sure they're going to back it down just a little bit on the first lap or 2, try to get some more temp into the tires.
Yeah, so really turn 11 and 12 is what we're talking about. Turn 13 is that hard right-hand kink back onto the little straightaway before turns 14, 15, and 16, which lead you back to 17 to complete the lap. So, again, turn 12 really the trouble spot, at least on the opening lap of race number 1. So, 42 seconds left in warm-up, and now we're going to throw the race winner, the 51, all the way, that's Zachary Hefner, all the way at the tail of the field. Between him and Paul Darling, which driver do you think climbs the most positions?
I think Hefner. I don't know why. I'm just part of me.
Oh, man.
He's not going to do it like that.
Nope.
Climb the pit wall. But, yeah, I feel like Hefner, I think, might get through more cars faster than Darling. I don't know. We'll have to see. It's going to be kind of a toss-up, I think, between both those drivers. And even you can throw in Kane and Ben into there as well. I think those are definitely going to be the top 3 guys to watch for tonight. More so in race 3 once we combine the order.
So 2 races left. We've completed 1 15-minute event. We have 2 15-minute events left to do. And this is our middle one of the night. We're going to invert the field and do this all over again.
We're just about to find who's going to be starting on pole for this race.
Pole position for race number 2 is going to be...
Lots for dramatic effect.
Andrew Mickey.
It was Andrew Mickey, okay. Ooh, Eric's only in 7th.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. Here's a look at your starting lineup for this one. On the front row for this, Andrew Mickey in the 86, Thomas Cooper in the 584. We're just going to let this scroll on the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, and so I was wondering why that was the case. Remember those incidents we saw in the last lap or 2? That's pretty much why we see a lot of these guys ended up, they're not going to be at the front of the grid, because they were barely able to finish with damaged race cars towards the end of the last race.
Turbo's spooling up here on the grid, waiting to get another pace lap rolling here tonight. And all the way at the tail of the field are 5 pro drivers. 5 of our 7. Jonathan DeCousier, Kurt Crum, Caden Ben, Paul Darling, and Zachary Hefner.
In that order.
Yep. And they've got a lot of cars ahead of them to figure out how to pass. And turn 1, lap 1, if I'm Zachary Hefner, I'm staying way back.
I would honestly just leave myself a gap. Don't even go in with the rest of the field. Maybe back up car length or 2 from the last car, and just kind of wait it out. Because as we saw with Oast, most people gave their space to a small incident, but it could have been a lot worse. And especially you got to imagine some of these guys in the back are going to be a little bit more aggressive than others. They're going to try to move up as many spots as possible. They can try to send it into the turn and could end up causing a big wreck. So you never really know, and really after turn 1 when you can start to kind of planning way up the order, but definitely watch out for that.
So you see how wide the racetrack is through the middle of the corner, then it narrows quickly down to about 3 lanes wide, and it narrows farther towards turn 2 and 3. It's really down to effectively 2 lanes, and then one racing line. It's very difficult to run through this section side by side without mounting the curbs and potentially getting yourself out of shape. So we'll see how this goes. Eric Mickey's in a pretty good spot with the pace that he's had, as is Carter Kundinger. And he purposely put himself in a position where he could start up towards the front.
Fortunately, I'm sure he and Mickey thought they were going to be starting on the front row. But with the last race incident that put 4 cars between Kundinger and the front, he's going to have a little bit of traffic to work through to get the overall win of this race. I think he should be able to do so. He's got some decent pace in that 2 car. But we'll have to see if he can navigate a little bit of traffic and try to run away with this win.
Bombshell Motorsports cars in 1st, in 7th, and in 15th. So they kind of span the entire field, essentially. And prediction is, which of the 3 is going to be the highest finisher in this race?
Of
Bombshell.
Good question. I think Eric. I don't think Andrew's got the pace here in comparison to Eric. We'll have to kind of see between them. Kurt, I would like to say Kurt, but I mean, obviously he's starting all the way back in 15. So I'm going to put my money on Eric. So don't let me down, Eric.
See how it goes. Finishing up the pace lap here, drivers warming up their tires to hopefully not have the situation they had in race 1. At least for drivers like Kundinger, the 584 Thomas Cooper. Although Cooper, we haven't really seen him weaving a whole lot. Yeah. I'm not sure if he's learned his lesson from last time.
I hope he did, because if he didn't, he's in front of a lot of cars. So let's see how that plays out. I mean, definitely Ost in the 157 after spinning out in turn 1. This is a good chance to try to redeem himself. Maybe get a win here. He's got some solid pace in that car, despite being an AM driver. He could potentially run away with the win, if not a solid top 3.
Again, drivers on the left-hand side of the ticker, the drivers with yellow numbers are our pro category. Again, there is an overall championship, but there also is individual class winners. And everyone's separated into pro and AM. Pro yellow, AM white. Pace car is working its way, it's revving out, tacking out very violently. Down the back straightaway here before it's going to make the hard right onto pit lane. Only a few corners left. Andrew Mickey in the Bombshell 86 is going to have clear racetrack ahead of him, which is a comforting feeling at a track like Sebring. Pace car pulls off. It's the 86 Bombshell car on the right-hand side of your screen. He is the control car, waiting for the green flag to drop. There it is. Green flag flies. Race 2 at Sebring is underway. So far, so good. No drama yet. Rewind to the midfield, and there goes the spinner.
Right in the middle of the field. Brian Zone around into the wall hard.
Oh, in front of them. There goes the 584 of Cooper. 2 cars spun early. Kurt Crum is also dropping down the order. Looked like he was for a moment, but he's stabilized. Car off again.
T-Galgi.
Woo, getting dicey. There's Liam, Liam Park.
Looks like, besides that, everyone else is somewhat okay. Andrew Mickey trying to run away with this in the lead. Meanwhile, Ost and Carter Kundinger are going side by side for second.
Just passed like 5 cars with 1 dive up the inside.
Moved himself up into 7th place, and we're still barely half a lap through.
That was an incredible move to take advantage of all those drivers that were being so careful on the opening lap. Oh, more trouble.
Up the road.
I think they just made contact, but I was taking a look at, I think it was Hefner that was super aggressive in the back of Lidke, and he did get to the inside.
He's trying to move as many spots as possible. He's currently ahead of Paul Darling, but he's been ahead of both these cars.
Oh, no, there goes the Cougar. Off into the grass. He should avoid the wall.
Yeah, he's going to save it, but drop down the order quite a bit. Oh, defensive for Lidke as he's trying to hold off Paul Darling here. Darling going to back off.
Oh, Darling's going to look to driver's right. Aggressive move into the S's. Here he comes, backs out. Bit of a bobble on the brakes. Rodriguez is wide.
Yeah, up to Lidke at the inside of his teammate. Darling's trying to do the same.
This is chaos right now. And Darling's going to throttle up and loose on corner exit. Here comes T-Galgi with a run. Darling goes defensive. Oh, 3 wide.
3 wide on the back straight. They got to sort this out before they get to Sunset. You cannot go 3 wide through Sunset.
Cars everywhere. How about for second? Here, whoa, there goes Kundinger off.
Oh,
Eric Mickey's around in front of the field in the final corner. And he's off in the dirt.
Yeah, Eric Mickey around is going to try to get this thing back.
Whoa, oh no! Trouble again. Algae's off.
Oh. He's going to back into the wall. Engine damage on the car. He's going to be done. Kundinger down on pit road.
He hits pit lane.
Enos.
All sorts of drama in the opening laps of race number 2 here tonight.
I have no clue what's going on.
Everything, it's just, it's an apocalypse outside everywhere.
Yeah, you want to know why it's the apocalypse with Andrew Mickey?
That's
I
gonna
joked.
burn.
I had to take advantage of it.
Andrew Mickey, the last time I think he's won a race was all the way back at Watkins
Look at the lead
Glen.
he's got. He's got a 4-second lead over Brandon Blackford.
Yeah.
He's looking to win this race easily.
He's checking out, and the last time we've seen him win was at Watkins Glen in season 1 that we were with him. And Blackford and Kurt Crum. Kurt Crum started at the back of the field in 15th. He's now 3rd.
Trying to get a bombshell 1-2 on the front, but he's got a little bit of work to do. He's got to get past Blackford. He looks like a kingpin right behind him, and both these drivers have moved up the order excellent.
Oh, here comes Ben up the inside. Pass for position.
No.
Slip and slide.
Kurt Crum being
ABS
defensive.
saved the 87 there.
Yeah, and I think Crum needs to do a good job of defending this spot. He can't let Ben get past him. Ben's definitely the faster of the two.
Oh, no doubt about that. But is he more patient?
We're seeing right behind Keaton Ben is Zachary Hefner. All of our pros moving through the field fairly quickly.
Yeah, if Hefner finishes here, he'll be in a great spot to pick up the pole for race 3. Darling and Vostrel trading positions. Car a little bit wide. I think it was Blackford. There he goes. Crum up to 2nd. Ben to 3rd. Hefner to 4th. And Paul Darling will be coming with a head of steam to take over 5th from Blackford.
Darling's definitely got the pace. He built up a little bit more pace towards the end of race 1. And we're starting to be more on pace where we would think he would be. So he should be able to catch up to the guys ahead of him. But has to make quick work of Blackford.
The Crum has already eaten into Andrew Mickey's lead. And Mickey better run and run quick because he's got 10.5 minutes to hold off his teammate. And I'm not sure that he's got the pace to do it.
Yeah, last lap through, Andrew Mickey ran a 2:04.3 to Kurt Crum's 2:02.5.
Incredible pace out of the number 87 right now, but if he and Caden Ben fight, they might not catch Andrew Mickey, and here comes Ben right on the tailpipes of the 87.
And that's what I imagine that Ben's going to keep himself right behind Kurt Crum. That's what he should do, at least till they get to Andrew.
On the back straightaway again for the 3rd time.
Despite the pros made their way through the field very quickly.
Yeah, they did. There were all 5 at the, well, 5 of the 7 were at the very last cars on the grid. Now 4 of the 7 are 2nd through 5th.
Yeah, after only completing 2 laps.
Liam Park and Brian Sohn into the braking zone for the hairpin. Park on the inside, Sohn on the outside.
So it's going to give him quite a bit of room. He's going to get a good exit, though, trying to fight back with Park.
Drag race up to 10.
There's Eric Mickey right in behind this group. That blue and white car picture.
Into the braking zone, Park again with the advantage. And he will manage to just clear Sohn before turn 12, but he's going to leave Sohn a lot of space.
They're going to get back out single file, a little bit wide for Park and Eric Mickey in the background.
Well, Andrew Mickey at one point had a 4-second lead. That point wasn't very long ago. Well, here comes his teammate.
It took a lot shorter amount of time than I thought for them to catch up, but Kurt Crum's pretty much there with company.
Yeah, this is going to be a very, very short battle here as Crum has just been carrying so much more speed onto corner exit.
Now what's Andrew gonna do?
Not gonna fight it. He'll give the space. Bit of a crowd off into the corner. And Caden Ben gonna try to slot in for a 2nd. Keep it tight, and he's got it.
See Andrew try to blend in line here. We'll see if he can try to stick with these guys up at the front. And you see there's Hefner going out wide to make a pass.
Whoa! Chasing each other across the racetrack. Cat and mouse game down the front stretch, and Ben slots in behind Kurt Crum. And now Hefner on the outside of Mickey, and they'll head down to turn 2 side by side, and pass complete.
Oh, not quite just yet. They're finally going to clear into the corner.
Blackford and Vostrel, same deal, turn 2.
Oh, door-to-door contact with you. Both these guys are going to keep it straight. Still not done.
A little bit of Rubbins racing around here, trading paint. It's like a gender reveal. Got pink and baby blue. I just, you know, it's like they're gonna pop a balloon and it's a girl. Blackford up to P6. That was dumb. That was a dumb thing to say. Crum is leading, but Caden Ben is not letting him get anywhere. And these two fought hard in race 1, and I don't think we're we have yet seen the only lead change of the night.
No, yeah, I think we're definitely far from over, especially considering the guys you got in the front, Kurt Crum, Hayden Ben, Hefner, and even Darling too, if he can try to get back to these guys into this battle, make it a four-way battle essentially for the lead. Oh, speaking of Darling, out in the grass.
Yeah, Darling has struggled a bit more than the other drivers around him to make passes, but we've seen how incredibly, what's the word I'm looking, like exponentially quicker he got in race 1, lap after lap after lap. I think we'll see it more of the same in this one. He just ran a 2:01.1 last time by, which isn't his quickest lap of the night, but his quickest lap is the best lap of the race.
I think, though, he definitely needs to make some quick work of Andrew Mickey, otherwise he's going to find himself losing more time to leaders. Here we see Liam Park fighting with Brian Sohn.
Yeah, Park beached himself on the curbs, and he's going to get a good run onto the back straight. Sohn's rear bumper all torn to pieces.
A little bit of a side draft here. He's just going to try to drag Ray Sohn down the back straightaway into Sunset. Oh, Sohn going to go out wide, going to clip some cones as well.
As much speed as you can carry out there, and they're going to continue to run side by side as they re-enter the front straight.
Ray Sohn still with the advantage, but Park not giving up just yet.
Into turn 1. Will Park try the crossover, or will he leave space? Here he comes. Big head of steam.
Run up the inside through turn 2, now to turn 3.
Sohn wanted to defend, he wasn't able to.
Just gonna get clear.
Meanwhile, for the top spot, here comes Ben on the outside. He might try crossover on the exit.
I mean, might as well try to fight now that you're clear. This is essentially for the lead, so Ben's gonna give it everything he's got, and he's also got to worry about Hefner. If Hefner makes pass on Ben, that's gonna make his Ben's time for the lead even a lot harder. So gotta make pass quickly.
Well, Ben got down to the apex way better. Meanwhile, Paul Darling and Andrew Mickey have traded spots, but I'm just so interested to see where Caden Ben tries to make a pass. Here he comes to the outside through 12, gets crowded contact into the grass.
Wow, keeps it off the grass. Amazing job for Ben.
That was very close to being a disaster.
He's got to have a mirror of the 51 in behind him trying to get second spot.
This guy's coming.
Yeah.
We have 5 minutes left to race. It's about 3 laps worth. If these 3 start to fight, it's not going to take long for Darling to get there.
Here's what Ben's got in store now for a second charge here. Oh, going to get into the grass a little bit. It's going to ruin his run.
Yeah, and Crum's going to be able to take advantage of this and try to sprint away. 3 laps to go at the line. 4 minutes and 50 seconds left. Oh, Hefner up the inside.
Wow.
Trading for position, and that was a big lunge by the 51.
Swing would be side by side. They're still actually side by side with the crossover from the 23.
Yeah, these two better sorted out quick. Whoa, Darling almost got in the tire barrier in the final
pushing
corner.
it, trying to catch these guys, and Ben gonna get him back, and gonna get sorted out by turn 1.
I think Ben's the quicker of the two right now. So if I'm Hefner, I'm gonna sit behind and let him try to battle the 87. But he might not feel that way. He might feel like he's the better driver to be up front, chasing this leader.
Big thing for these guys too, don't make a mistake now.
Top 3 covered by only 0.3 of a second. And we've got 4 minutes in this race remaining. Kurt Crum has led 3 laps after passing his teammate Andrew Mickey a few laps ago. Caden Ben has led none, and he wants it.
Fastest lap through last time by was Zachary Hefner with a 2:0.3 compared to everyone else.
Darling has slashed a second off of this lead in the last half a lap. Look at this fight. Lidkey to the inside of Eric Mickey. Mickey, I think, is actually on the attack here, trying to move up into 8th.
He's been trying to make up as many spots as he can after his incident. Get himself at least somewhere close to the front of the order. Now going to have a look to the inside of Lidkey, down into turn 10.
Here he comes, dive on the brakes for the 88. And I think he knew that door was going to close, so he left a little bit of space just in case. And it's so hard to stay to the inside there as you track out. And this isn't, turn 13 isn't really a great passing opportunity because the line narrows down so much. 3 minutes to go, up the road you see Blackford and Shabelski. This is for 6th.
Shabelski putting a lot of pressure now on Blackford as the laps begin to wind down.
Again behind Eric Mickey. On Drew Lidkey.
Here's we see if he can get back up past Blackford. I'll put him in 6th. Be a decent recovery for him.
Up front, Kurt Crum continues to lead. Now 2 laps to go. 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. Have we seen all there is to see?
I don't think so. I think I'm really curious. Hefner's been pretty quiet in that third spot. Other than that one move we saw him make on Bin, he hasn't really done a whole lot as far as attempts go to the 23. But I think he's going to have to make his move this lap.
34 corners left, make it 33. Big jump over the curb for Hefner. That slowed him down. Bin was able to close up on Crum.
Yeah, Hefner's going to have to make his pass on Caden Bin this lap, and then he has another lap to focus on Kurt Crum. Meanwhile, a mess in the midfield here.
Blackford, Shabelski, Lidke, and Eric Mickey. These were two separate battles that have now converged into one. And wow, Mickey backed out of it just in time there. That was almost big contact.
Yeah, let's turn around Lidke. And here comes Lidke, a run on his teammate. Shabelski gets into the grass. Here comes Mickey with a great run to the outside.
And Mickey's going to try to take advantage of this in the braking zone, but being on the outside in the hairpin isn't always the best place to be, but he's going to clear Shabelski before they even get there. Peter Bostrom also here. Carter Kundinger. Not the night he needed tonight. Back in 13th still. Coming back to turn 13, Crum hammers the inside curb. Caden Bin, Zachary Hefner, each 4/10 separated. And Darling has kind of stalled about 2.5 seconds back.
This is kind of afraid of it. He's actually running. Last lap he ran on pace with Kurt Crum. Both ran a 2:06.
Gonna have to do better than just on pace though.
So this is what I was afraid of for him, but we'll get a solid 4th place. Definitely would want more. I mean, if these guys get into each other in the front here, that could give Darling some more spots. Love to see what these guys got in store as they got a little over a lap left.
Twice more through Sunset, and the checker will fall on race 2. And the opening part of this race was extremely drama-filled. Caden Bin trying to set up for a run onto the front straight. White flag flies for Kurt Crum. Inherited the lead from his teammate after he started all the way in 15th spot. Caden Bin in 16th. And now they're going to have one more lap to contest this. One more lap around Sebring.
And took a
He's
very
there.
tight line.
Here he comes for the lead. Caden Bin. Defensive line by Crum. And Bin's going to sit here. I think he's got something up his sleeve.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to have to. It depends on how the exit he's going to get on this corner here. You see him trying to set up the run down towards the hairpin.
Got a little bit of the curve on the inside, a little bit on the outside that's going to stall some of the momentum. I think he's looking more towards the far side of the track, meaning turn 10, I think, is a good passing opportunity. He might try to take a lunge here to the outside. Kurt Crum takes a block.
Wasn't close enough to get alongside with Kurt Crum. So yeah, he's got running out opportunities now.
I don't think he's going to be close enough for moving 10 either, so now you're setting up for 16 or 17 at this point. You can't make a lunge from this far back.
I would be worried a little bit with the 51 in behind him. I think what you saw him just go a little bit defensive there.
ABS trying to keep these wheels from locking up under the heavy brake pressure these guys are putting these cars under. And Bin is close. He's close enough to take a lunge, but it has to be a harder braking zone than this one. Crum slipped a little bit through 13.
Here they approach the S's for the final time in race 2.
And up ahead, there is some lap traffic. It shouldn't be a factor. S's final time. Now it's all about setting up that last straightaway. Caden Bin trying to throttle up to catch him. I don't think it's going to be enough. And Crum got a great run out of turn 16.
Yeah, Ben got a decent entry, but not really good on the exit. You can see him still breaking away from Crum, and now he's going to start to close back, but I think too little too late.
For Crum, all he's got to do is make this a perfect corner, and he's all set, and he'll pick up a victory on the night. Bin trying to line him up for a pass on corner exit.
Oh, gets a little bit sideways for Ben. Got to be careful. Still got Hefner behind him.
Checkered flag, Kurt Crum. He's going to get it done by 0.2 of a second over Caden Bin at the final moments of this one. Hefner 3rd, Darling 4th, and Andrew Mickey is going to hang on for 5th place. Great drive by him to hold on.
Moving on back right behind Eric Mickey. Got past all the other cars that he was battling with on the final lap. He's going to get 6th place.
Blackford to the inside, Shabelski to the outside. To the line, Blackford, Shabelski, Lidke, the order. Bostrel and Sohn will round out the rest of your top 10. And Carter Kundinger, another disappointing race tonight for the number 2. I think lap 1 is worth going over.
Oh, yeah. Lots to unpack.
It all really started with, there was an accident with Brian Sohn in the 03. I'm not sure if he just got loose or what.
Yeah, he was the only car to really have an incident in turn 1. what caused it.
He just got loose all on his own.
Yeah.
And he spun wide, and then there was a bit of a stack up behind them.
It was Cooper that got the next.
Yeah, Thomas Cooper, he went off the racetrack. Let's see how he got knocked off. Was it 157 of Ost? Oh, he got hit.
Oh.
Hundinger got into Ost, which got into the 584. And then up the road, Kurt Crum. Watch this. Kurt Crum right now is almost last in line. And then he's going to get this heck of a run. And then just watch all the cars are going to go from up above here. Kurt Crum in the middle of your screen, the blue and white car. Going to cross over to the inside and watch this move.
Got him. 1, 2, and 3.
All in one fell swoop. Got it all done. What a great dive.
Yeah, and I'm just realizing I completely forgot this thing. I think the reason why Hundinger and Mickey had to come down pit road, as well as O's, is I think because
penalties from race 1. Yep. Here's a look at your race results. Wild race. I think we expected that. Great battle for the lead, though. Those front three were very respectful and didn't really have any issues other than a slight contact heading into 13 on one of the laps. But
nice to see good, hard racing, but these guys not getting too physical with each other to the point where they're wrecking each other out. But yeah, really close, tight racing. And just to see what we have in store for race 3.
There has been a very clear line drawn in the sand tonight between Pro and Am drivers. Again, the top 5 has been mostly gold. Andrew Mickey, the only Pro driver to finish inside the top 5 so far tonight. Or excuse me, only Am driver to finish inside the top 5. All the rest have been pros. So that's pretty solid for Mickey. We'll be back in a few minutes for race number 3. It'll be about 10 minutes. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Would you like to have a career in racing, and if so, what would you like to do, Dale?
Well, I want to be a race car driver someday. It's all I've ever known, racing.
What did you want to be when you grew up? So many people live a life of what if. Go to school. Go to college. Get a 9-to-5. This is how we support our dreams. With a safety net. Because we're unsure about taking a leap of faith. Because we're afraid. As we grow, we cross things off our list of dreams. We cut them down, make them realistic. Having control of things is reassuring. But for some, the rush of being out of control is what gives them life. Some say racing cars is reckless. Maybe they're right. Out of bounds isn't just cheating, it's cheating death. Football fields made up in seconds. Decisions made in instants. For the people that climb behind the wheel of these cars, they're not driving it. They become part of it. It's an extension of the body. As a child, I looked up to these people, faces hidden by helmets. The less you saw of the driver, the more believable it became that they were, in fact, just part of the machine. It's easy to forget that inside the cockpit is someone just like us, but with the mindset that fear is a motivation, not a barrier. But the reality is, race car drivers are not like us. They never cross anything off their list of dreams. They just keep writing more. Daytona.
This is the finish of the Daytona 500. Side by side.
Le Mans. Indianapolis. Monaco. Places that used to be just places, now international symbols of victory. To those that enjoy the spectacle of racing, the 2 feet of concrete and steel cables are a wall between us and them, between sitting in the grandstands and standing in victory lane. These same walls are a stark, immovable reminder that racing drivers put their lives on the line for the sake of the thrill and entertainment. Despite the risk, despite the heartbreak,
Oh my gosh!
despite the cost. There are some on the sidelines who are fascinated by the danger. They are fascinated by speed, fascinated by the undying desire to be just a little bit better. Their dreams erased by geography, finances, or the lack of a famous last name. There are some who once wished to be a race car driver, but aren't, because they didn't get the chance. And they thought they'd spend the rest of their lives watching their heroes on television, or from the other side of the fence. They thought it was impossible to climb into a race car, so they crossed it off their list. But it's not impossible. There is a ticket to the other side of the fence. For those who want it bad enough, this is your chance.
My father's father had 2 brothers and a sister. His older sister, Hazel, had married a man named Jim Yunker, and he was involved in the bottling business early on, as early as 1906 in Indianapolis, and he sold flavors. He would have had grape, cream soda, blood orange, ginger ale. In 1915, he got the franchise for Coca-Cola in Indianapolis. So then we fast forward 20 years later to 1935, Jim Yunker approached my grandfather and his 2 brothers and said the franchises in Kokomo, Logansport, and Peru are available for sale, and you guys want this. Trust me, you want to get in the Coca-Cola business.
Welcome back live to Sim TV. Again, my name is Kyle Heyer. You're with Vinny Nakuna tonight as well, and he's actually got to leave in about 15 minutes time, but he's got his own race going on. But in about a minute and a half here, we're going to grid up for the 3rd race and the final race of the night. We're going to be gridding by the cumulative points from the first 2 events, and they've been pretty crazy events so far. I expect Hefner to be up towards the front, Kurt Crum to be up towards the front. Who wins the whole thing tonight?
Honestly, it's going to be kind of tough to tell. I definitely think it's going to be between Darling, Hefner, Crum, and Kane Ben. I think it's going to be definitely a thing between those 4 guys. If it's not, I'll be quite surprised because those guys seem to be definitely the class of the field.
Taking a look at your warm-up pace here, only a couple drivers have set times, but Paul Darling is pretty quick, and I think he's overdue for a race win tonight. He has not really been, he's been up inside the top 5, but not really a race-winning competitor. I imagine that's probably going to change in this 3rd race.
Yeah, I definitely see he is going to be starting back behind some of these other guys. So I think he should be probably lining up, I imagine, around 4th. 4th or 3rd, maybe, depending on his finishes for the first 2 races.
The other thing that's kind of nice you can see from up here is actually where the surface changes from concrete to asphalt. And that's kind of worth noting because the concrete is so much bumpier and so much older than the surrounding asphalt. You see in the middle of your screen, that's turn 1. That's the trouble spot. Has been every time we've come here. And you look on the bottom right of your screen, that's asphalt. That part you typically don't see a lot of crashing on. So keep yourself out of trouble again. First and last corner are tricky.
Yeah, we've seen relatively minor incidents in turn 1. Let's see if that hopefully doesn't change so far. They've been on a pretty great track record, which I have a feeling might all come crashing down here in race 3. I'll have to say.
Well, no concerns about the coronavirus in the virtual world tonight, so we got a full crowd on as much as I tried to turn it off. I wasn't successful in doing what I wanted to do, but
yeah, real realism.
Couldn't do it. So lining up for our 3rd race of the night, the starting lineup is rolling along across the bottom of your screen. And while we let that go, we'll take a look at your conditions for the 3rd race, because it's a little bit different. A little bit clearer looking out there, some less clouds than there were before. Track temperature has been roughly the same. Wind has died down about 10 miles an hour. Which is going to affect some of these cars in the higher speed corners.
As I say, it's going to pick up, go past.
Wow.
The wind's really picked up.
Yeah, okay, it's right back where it was. So, 18 cars on the grid for this third and final race, and we're about to get ready to roll off here again. And so it's Hefner, Crum, Bin, Darling, Lidkey, Shabelski, Blackford, Mickey, DeCouger. Then it's Sohn, Algie, Vostrel, Rodriguez, Kundinger, Park, Cooper, and Oast. Now, Kundinger in the 2-car, he is a pro category driver, but tonight it has been a pro level performance.
It's been a miserable night, I think, for the 2. Kundinger, he does not have the results he needed. He has the pace. The car definitely has some pace, but just hasn't been able to get to the finish line in a solid spot after being involved in some incidents. So hopefully he can turn around his night in race 3 here. He's going to be starting in the back, so it's going to make things just that much more tougher.
Yeah, now you got to avoid everybody on top of avoiding yourself getting into an accident. So Kunninger's got a lot on his plate tonight, so he doesn't tumble down the points. Hefner has had a spectacular night in his 51 car, first and a third, which has put him good enough for pole in race 3. Now, Kurt Crum is also pretty quick, but Caden Bin, how impressive was he at Summit Point last week, Finney? And then he comes out here and he's right back on pace.
See if he can keep it up, and I'm also just kind of looking at the points here for who can try to make up some ground. Hefner Crum is 6th in the points. It's going to be a big night for him trying to get to Paul Darling. He's currently leading the points.
Field heads down to the hairpin. Seen remarkably little trouble on this end of the course. It's really been, again, we mentioned it earlier, turns 10 through 13 has really been the issue tonight. Calamity Corner over there, especially in turn 12. Field now just making their way towards that set of corners.
I'm just kind of scanning through the order. Any surprises, really? Lidkey and Chbelski have had pretty solid nights. Lidkey especially currently he's going to start this race in 5th.
So, you remember, Lidkey, we've been broadcasting SCRS for over 2 years, and you're about to sneeze, so...
I got it.
Okay. Lidkey's been in this series for 2 years, and think back to season 1. Remember Bathurst season 1? How well he was performing in that AM category.
I was going to say, he is an AM champion.
Yeah, and again, he's right back in the AM category and performing at a high level. And I think there was one point when he was actually moved up to pro and fought it because he got moved up to pro and was getting beat all the time. But in AM, he's crushing everybody.
Yeah, he's kind of a weird middle ground. There's actually a decent distinction, too, that I found. Again, I think they did a really good job determining who was a pro, who was an AM.
I mean, you saw it tonight.
Yeah,
both races, the top 4 have been pro drivers, and only one AM driver has finished inside the top 5 tonight. That's Andrew Mickey.
So yeah, so Lidkey definitely has shown he's kind of getting stuck in the middle, almost too good to be an AM, but not as good enough to be a pro. But he's classified as an AM driver, doing a really solid job tonight, especially with his teammate Brian Chbelski.
18 cars on the grid, 15 minutes. We saw our pro drivers come from the back to the front to finish top 4, and then 6th was Eric Mickey in race 2. And Eric Mickey will be starting in 8th in this one.
Oh, car's been spinning around.
It's
Cooper.
Thomas Cooper. He has been sideways more than he's been forward tonight. How did that happen? Oh, that was just a badly timed throttle application, that's for sure.
Like, warm tires.
Well, he didn't learn those lessons the first 2 races. Maybe he didn't really get a chance to in the last race. It wasn't really his fault. Time to come to the green for race number 3, the final race of the evening. Thank you for joining us here on Sim TV. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you have not yet. Zachary Hefner in the number 51 is going to take us down to the green flag. Green flag flies, the final time at Sebring. We are racing in SCRS Ferrari Challenge. Oh, car way wide. That's Andrew Mickey. He's going to have to... Oh, no, it's not. Oh, man, big crash. And there it goes. Is that... No, it's not Kurt Crum. It's the 88 of Eric Mickey. Thank you, Finian. And Drew Lidkey also torn up in that big damage for those 2.
Yes, we were talking about how good he was running tonight. Going to end it up in the wall. Still battles going on. You see Kundinger and Sohn get side by side.
Wrestling that car back on course. One of our pros and one of our AMs already in the wall early. Hefner leads the way. Bin, Crum, Darling, Chbelski, your top 5 as we enter the corner. Here comes, that is the geology machine. Big damage on the nose of his car as well. He's going to have to repair that, Finian. He's missing the entire nose section on that car.
Ooh, someone else has made some contact in the background. It's Liam Park, I think, that got turned around.
Yeah, Thomas Cooper might have been involved in that as well.
Chaos on the first half of lap 1.
That's Sebring as always. Challenging course. especially on cold tires. Hefner leads the way and growing a gap on Caden Bin.
Ooh, deep.
Car in the background, off again, and it's Jonathan Rodriguez. Same place again.
And keep it out of the wall, get it back on the track. We're going to be back in 16th.
You have to wonder, you see a lot of these pro drivers that were weaving on the pace lap spinning,
Oh!
and Blackford's going to spin.
Gonna get it off the racing surface, though.
A safe place to spin if you're going to spin anywhere, but you have to wonder how little weaving these guys were doing, Finney, and they were not warming up their tires as much as they could have, and it's showing. They've been really struggling because they just haven't been doing the job they need to be doing to warm up those tires on this extremely long pace lap. There's no excuse for that here. You got plenty of time to get them to heating the tires and brakes.
Goes up in the front, first, second, third, and fourth, breaking away from the rest of the field.
This Kundinger fighting for a top 10 tonight. He needs
There's Algie.
something.
Algie gonna... Oh, I thought he was gonna peel up on pits because he's gonna still try to continue with that car, despite missing the hood.
Drag racing Kundinger down the front straight. Here comes Andrew Mickey up the inside of
Blackford
Jonathan
again
Akuzer.
at the exit of the pit, or entry of the pits. He's gonna spin.
It's not been his race, that's for sure. Heard some dirt flipping and flying, and Hefner had about 3 feet of airtime over the edge of the curbs through turn 3.
I think these guys have been jumping like they're in supercars.
I think these cars can take pretty sizable curb hits, and they respond fairly well to it. But especially that first sector, turns 2, 3, 4, those curbs are so tall that you can't get power down. You're under traction control while you're in the air, and the cars just don't like it very much over there. You can get away with it elsewhere, but not over there.
Top 2 turn to break away between Hefner and Bin from Kirk Crump and Darling. So we'll see this gap expands more if Kirk Crump can get back to the leaders.
Oh, Brian Sohn, he's off in the grass. That's a weird place to go off. Oh, just got hooked the grass on driver's right. Managed to get it back under control, but kind of a messy corner exit for Brian
Gonna
Sohn.
put him back from 8th to 12th.
Hefner and Bin picking up where they left off in race 1. Kurt Crum has fallen into the clutches of Paul Darling.
You guys have been kind of drifting further and further on back. See the rest of the field come on through the picture. There was Schwelsky, DeKuger, Andrew Mickey, T. Galgi, and Carter Kundinger.
Oh, bit of a bobble for Caden Bin on corner exit.
Gonna keep it straight, try to get the toe off of the 51 of Hefner. Hefner looking to get his second win of the night.
Into turn 17 for the second time. And Thomas Cooper trying to chase Eric Mickey. Mickey and Lidkey had a whole bunch of damage from that opening lap, and Algie.
Oh no! Kundinger around and gonna get it to Algie as well.
And bounces off the tire barrier. And this night has just been one to forget for Kundinger. This has just gone horrifically wrong. Drove off into the corner and just got loose. And just tagged T. Algie, and Algie bounced off the barrier, as did the two. And Kundinger's hit pit lane, and a frustrating night for him.
Service stop and go.
T. Algie as well. Our front two continue to fight, and I have a weird feeling that Hefner is going to be able to stretch his legs here a bit, because Caden Bin's quick, but I think Hefner is just a hair quicker.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he might be able to hold on to the lead. I don't think he's going to be quite able to break away. Bin's been making good use of the draft to keep himself at pace with the leader, so that's why Hefner really hasn't been able to break away, and this has been putting a bigger and bigger gap back to third, 1.5 between Bin and Crump.
Surprised at Crumb's lack of general pace here in race 3. I thought he would be right up with these front two, but hasn't been the case. Darling as well really hasn't had much pace at all.
Oh,
there he goes! Slides, and off the course he goes, and he'll end his night.
A night of frustration for the 155 of Darling.
Austin Vostrel for 7th. Blackford mounting the curbs in turn 10. And yeah, again, these two. They've just been putting on a show tonight, Finney, and we haven't really seen this kind of pace out of Hefner yet this season. He's been good, but he's been dominant tonight.
And like I said, good opportunity to make up some decent points, especially now with Darling, who's going to essentially finish in last place, being in 18th.
Swing to driver's right. Here comes Caden Bin to the outside for turn 1. Hafner leads. Crossover by Bin. He's going to set him up for turn 2.
Great line for Ben through turn 1, but he can't really do anything here. Really tight section of track.
Using every inch of the racetrack.
I love how aggressive these guys are in these curbs.
Now the run down to the hairpin again. This is a passing opportunity, but it's if you're on the outside, you can hold your own down here.
Comes Ben.
He's faking right, faking left. Hafner doesn't buy it. And getting the run onto this back straight is so important.
Interestingly enough, Kirkland was actually faster than Hafner last lap through by about a tenth. Probably not completely falling off pace. Looks like he's starting to get some of that back. Could not be out of this just yet. He could be still back in it for third.
Notice a lot of yaw on this in this car with this new tire. You have to drive these cars kind of sideways.
Yeah.
They don't really have the downforce that you would expect, or at least they don't drive like they have the downforce you'd expect. You'd expect a downforce car to really feel very darty and to feel very pointed. These cars are driving more like super late models than they are like GT cars right now, and I think that's what Paul Darling has been struggling with. This big cut for Caden Bin, but they leave you quite a bit of wiggle room through 16. They used to have a cone down there. If you hit that cone, it was a slowdown, and they removed that cone because people kept knocking it over.
Man, beautiful sky. I love looking at the skybox sometimes, man.
So much better than the JPEGs they use for the sky.
Absolutely.
Great battle for the lead again. We have seen some incredible racing at the front of the field tonight. Meanwhile, for 5th place, Shabelski and Andrew Mickey, this is for 5th. Be a good points night for Andrew.
Yeah, really solid finish in race 2. Not so much for race 1, but then race 3 is still gonna get home a solid finish. He's actually trying to now get 5th place away from Shabelski.
Through turn 1. There's Christian Oates. He had a spin at the start earlier tonight. And a bit of wall contact on the inside, getting every inch that he can, and back up at the front. These two continue to dogfight each other.
Hafner can't quite get the 23 away from him.
Only 6 minutes left in this race. 3 laps when we get back around to the start-finish line. Ben taking a wider entry to try to get a straighter launch off, but he slid. He got too much dirt. And he stumbled on the traction control, and that cost him some time.
Kirkrum's still faster than both these guys last lap through. 87's not out of this.
Yeah, he hasn't, he's gaining a tenth or so at a time, and if these two fight, he'll be right back in it. But as it stands, I don't know if he's going to get back to him.
I think if he can just start to get a little bit of a toe off the 23, he can kind of reel him back in. But you really should start to push here as we're coming down to the last 3 laps next time on.
Hafner leads the way. He's led since the drop of the green flag. Caden Bin, they've been all over him. So if Finian's going to take off, he's got racing to do. So it'll just be me in the booth here for the last 5 minutes of this one. Hafner, Bin, Crum, DeKuzer, and Shabelski. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Best fight in the field right now is for that top spot. Down the back straightaway. Bin staying in the slipstream, and he's done this most of the night. Just hanging out here. Here comes the look for the lead towards Sunset Bend. Bin and Hafner side by side into Sunset. Lock up on the brakes for the number 23. Goes to the top spot. Hefner's way wide. Going to try to cross over on corner exit. And Bin goes to the top. Drag race down the front stretch. Into turn 1. Hafner to driver's right. Bin to driver's left. Defensive line through the first corner. Hafner around the outside carries the speed. Side by side for the lead at Sebring for the SCRS Ferrari Challenge. Race number 3. Drives into turn 2. Bin's got it away from Hafner. And what a drive it has been. All over that 51. He's finally gotten through. Now we'll see if he can drive away. Kurt Crum, 1.1 seconds behind. He was able to close slightly. But still a ways back, and if they pick up the pace from here, he'll be left in the dust. Blackford and Kundinger, this is side by side for 13th place. Change of position, Kundinger takes it. Turn 10 for the leaders. Next time by will be 2 laps to go. Right on board with Hefner. These two have been so equal all night long. You can throw Kurt Crum in there as well. Jonathan DeCouger has had an interesting night, 10th to 4th in this race, and he's kind of in no man's land now with Brian Chabelski almost 5 seconds back. Then Christian Ost, Andrew Mickey, Vostrel, Sohn, and Eric Mickey running out the rest of your top 10. 2 laps to go for the leaders. Ben across the line. And his lap time this time through, a 2 minutes, .255, an average of 107.7 miles an hour. Hefner, 2 minutes, .4, 2/10 slower for Hefner. Ben off in the grass, dropped a wheel. Two minutes and 30 seconds left, the timer ticking down. Caden Ben starting to gap Hefner now. Kurt Crum closing in on second. Deeper in the field, Blackford and Rodriguez there entering Sunset Bend, nose to tail for 14th. Slow on corner exit for Blackford. Looks like he's gonna hit pit lane, potentially serve a penalty for course cuts here. A lap and a half for Caden Ben. At Summit Point a week ago, demonstrated that he was certainly a force to be contested with. Came into the night already competitive, finished second behind Hefner before, but I don't think he's willing to settle for second in this one. Bit of a bobble on the curb, entering 13. Hefner closes. But Ben gets a great run on corner exit as they head towards the S's. Back straightaway for the second to last time, the penultimate trip down the back straight towards Sunset Bend. The sun setting on a night of racing here at Sebring. Sun setting over the concrete barriers in the distance. 3.7 miles are left in this race. Ben tracks out way wide into Sunset, trying to carry some speed onto the front straight, and he will. Hefner gains a little bit. White flag in the air one more time around Sebring tonight. Hefner looks up the inside, dive on the brakes. Here they come for the lead. Side by side through turn number 1. The space is left, and they're going to drag race towards turn 2. Ben covers the block. Hefner back to driver's right. Turn 2 now, crossover. Over the curbs. Look up the inside for turn 4. Here they come again. Hefner, door to door with Ben. Ben hangs on. Now the drag race back to the hairpin. One more braking zone for Hefner to get up alongside before the back half of the course. He's going to follow Caden through here. Overslowed. Deeper in the field, Lidkey and Cooper side by side for 11th. Pass complete. Kundinger's going to follow through for 12th. Ben missed the apex slightly. Hefner all over the back of him. Half a lap left here at Sebring. And it's the juggernauts of SCRS Ferrari Challenge. The pro drivers having at it at the front of the field. Off in the dirt. S's coming up. Hefner will have to follow in the aerodynamic wash of the leader and try to build a run. He's got the slipstream for the last straightaway. The official, about a mile away, has the checkered flag in hand. Caden Ben with a spectacular run off of 16. Crum is close to Hefner. 1, 2, 3. 3/10 between each. One more corner, Sunset Bend. And Hefner with a big dive into turn 17. Checkered flag in the hands of the official. Caden Bin rounds the final corner, and he's going to pick up a victory tonight. Caden Bin wins at Sebring. Hefner 2/10 back. Crum right there as well. For 8th place, teammates Peter Vostrel and Brian Sohn chasing each other to the final corner. Unlikely to see drama between these two. Lidke and Kundinger. Back straightaway, this is for 11th place. 2-car to the inside. Final corner. Kundinger late on the brakes. A little bit wide on entry, but he's going to grab 11th in the final moments here at Sebring. A crazy, crazy race and spectacular results. The finishing order tonight has been so close. Caden Bin gets it done by 3.5 tenths over Hefner, Crum, DeKuger. Shibelski, the only other AM driver other than Andrew Mickey to score a top 5 tonight. Of course, Ost, Mickey, Vostrel, Sohn, and Eric Mickey running out the rest of your top 10. Paul Darling 5 laps down at DNF due to crash damage on the early part of this race. We'll be back in just a minute to talk to your race winners. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back live to Sim TV and SCRS Ferrari Challenge from Sebring. Kurt Crum won race 2, and it was 3rd in race 3, Kurt, but not quite enough pace to catch those front 2 at the very end. Couldn't quite get around them. Crazy racing tonight up at the front of the field. So competitive. What'd you need to get more than just the race 2 victory you had?
Well, I think I was a little conservative race 3, and the guys up front were extra patient. I was kind of hoping they would fight a little bit more and then I would attack, but I had a little left for them at the end. I probably should have started a little.
Tonight it seemed like there was a lot of trouble getting the tires up to temperature. What was your experience? I know this car is new to everybody on the new tire. How tricky was it, or was it better than it used to be?
It's a lot more fun than it used to be. The opening lap's definitely an issue. I would have thought after the first race that people would have figured out the weaving thing. That worked out pretty good for me, though, because I was one of the few cars really doing it, but it is a big help on that opening lap.
Also, how about the conditions tonight? There was a sun off into turn 17, but the track seemed relatively grippy. Do you think the cool temperatures, relatively cool temperatures, made it trickier to heat up the tires, or do you think that was something that drivers could have taken care of on the warm-up lap?
Yeah, it's a little trickier. Once you get up to speed and they're generating grip, the track temperature doesn't matter too much, but it definitely makes the pace lap a little trickier and more important when it is colder out because you're not getting anything from the track while you're.
Kurt, a win and a third place tonight. Highlights of the evening. Congratulations on those results, and thanks for talking to us.
Thanks. Have a good one.
You too. Moving on now to Zach Hefner, who got race 1 done tonight, and race 3 was so close, Zach. 0.3 of a second behind Caden Bin. Walk us through not only race 1, but also race 2 and race 3, where you had to fight pretty hard to get to where you were.
Yeah, race 1 was pretty nice. I did not expect to get pole and kind of walk away there. I literally had 3 minutes with the car before I didn't practice this car with the new tire model. So yeah, race 1 was nice. Kind of walked away and wasn't too bad. Paul kept me honest though, and kept everything nice and close. And then race 2 was wow. I don't know how to explain it. I weaved my way through the pretty much carved it through the first lap. And then race 3 was just really good fighting, really good racing between Caden and I. We were talking just before now, and we were just really impressed with how well we fought each other.
On that last lap, you guys were running side by side through turn 1. And how much trust do you have to have in a fellow competitor to be able to complete that move successfully without wiping each other out like so many other people did tonight in those corners?
Well, I would hope people trust me on the inside of them. It's tough. I guess you get a feel for throughout the race how someone races you. If you need to figure out that they're not too aggressive and they make a move, and I think you can kind of defend accordingly as far as how they've been racing you during the whole race.
I guess last but before I send you on your way, the Pro-Am lineup tonight, did that change your mindset at all, carving your way through the field, knowing that you weren't directly fighting some of these other cars, or was it kind of business as usual for you?
Yeah, I gotta say business as usual, really. It was just trying to get as high as I could, as quick as I could, really, and being patient, obviously taking the chances where you needed to.
Hefner won race 1, second in race number 3. Zach, nice work tonight, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you very much. See you then.
Absolutely. Moving on now to our race number 3 winner of the night. It was Caden Bin in the number 23. Caden, you had to work so hard to hold off Zach Hefner in those closing laps, but all 3 races tonight were extremely competitive up towards the front. Walk us through your evening and holding off Hefner in that last race.
Yeah, it was a great evening I think everyone out there had a pretty good evening. Close racing throughout the field. The first race, I was just trying to get used to the new tire model. Honestly, I had a few incidents with Paul getting the back of him, but it wasn't too bad. I avoided most of them. Just learning those braking zones with the new tire model is so different. Second race, forgot what happened. Just kind of ran my race. And the third race at the end was so hard holding Zachary off. The last lap, I was just overdriving the car, getting it sideways and destroying the tires, which was, I really thought he was going to get by me because I was just blowing my braking zones trying to hold him off.
One thing that we noticed tonight was how much curb usage everybody was using, especially to that turn 2 through 4 area. Does the new tire model kind of change how these cars handle over curbs, or is it kind of more the same and it was just being super aggressive tonight?
I've always kind of done it through turn 2 and 3, or 3 and 4, wherever it is. It does feel a bit easier though. Like before, I used to get back on the tarmac and bounce around everywhere, but now I feel like you can do it more smoothly. So definitely a difference.
Caden, congratulations on your race win tonight. It was really fun watching you guys race up there. Some great battling throughout the field, as you mentioned. But congratulations, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Sure thing. That's going to do it for the interviews here tonight, and we'll take you through your finishing order one last time before we jump off for the evening. And the next stream isn't going to be until, I believe, Monday night, 3-wide action. We're off tomorrow, off Saturday, and off Sunday as well. So it'll be 3-wide Racing League from Fontana on Monday, as well as ERSCA from their next round with Corey and the guys from PTRTD. And we want to thank everybody for jumping in here tonight. Again, Finian had to run off to do a league event, so I am finishing us up here tonight. Thank you again for joining us. If you're interested in road racing in multi-class fashion, join our Discord in the link in the video description. We've got a GS and TCR Michelin Pilot Challenge-esque series starting up on the 25th on Wednesday nights. It's going to be broadcasted right here on Sim TV to a very high degree of production quality. We're kicking up all the effort into all the different notches we can. It's going to be a fun one. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you later. Have a good night.